Hello, what's this week's Devil in the Detail podcast? I'm Rob Harrison, and we're here talking all things Salford Red Devils. It's a big week for our ladies. They are in grand final action against Oulton at Bradford, and I'm joined by Salford Red Devils ladies Vice Captain Viki Kini. Welcome to the show, Viki. Looking forward to talking all things Salford Red Devils ladies with me tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here. I'm appreciative of the invitation, so I'm excited to get going.
Yeah, we've obviously been off for the last couple of weeks, so we'll have a little look back at the last couple of games. We faced Stanningley away from home and won 42 points to 4. Was a tough old game, that one.
Definitely. The forwards really brought it to us, that game. A lot of questionable calls by the ref, but I won't say anything about the officiating. You know, at the end of the day, the girls did it. I think it was some outstanding performances by our edges. Katie Gary, you know, she came into our team later on in the season. So, but we made it work. I think our halves as well really controlled that game well for us to kind of execute what we do and attack. So it was great.
Yeah, great performance. Their pack was very, very aggressive, but ours was as well. And obviously our pack, I've said it before and I'll say it again, we're a match for anyone in this division.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people kind of say, you know, beginner's luck, but I think we're a team of girls who've kind of come together that wanted, you know, to do something different. So all of us are in a different, I guess, at a different point in our careers of whatever this is for everyone, and we just wanted something fresh, and I think that we brought the energy. We've brought it since the beginning, so proud of them, proud of our coaching staff as well.
Yeah, it's a real mix. Fantastic set of forwards. You got backs that can burn. Obviously, you've sort of float between the two, don't you? You play in the centres, you play in the back row. Do you have kind of a preference on where do you play?
I don't know. I like second row, but I feel like you know, I get a bit of a rest on the edges.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but also on the edges, you know, you see a lot of ball. You get a lot of the ball at the end of the plays, whereas second row, you're kind of just like a dummy runner, and then you're running back into the big girls. But yeah, I think part and part, they've both got their pros and cons.
Yeah. And obviously, you like that part of the game that, you know, with the physical side when you're sort of mixing it in the forwards.
Yeah, definitely. If anything about rugby that I love is the physicality of it. I'm not much of like a person that runs to try and score a try, just like running into people.
No, like I say, not all teams do need that kind of player who's willing to graft and make the tackles and make the drives. And if you feel that, you know, your role in this team, then happy days.
Absolutely. I try my best.
Yeah. So obviously we scored some great tries, 2 from Kate Gary. You know, what a winger she is, lightning quick, scored 2 great tries.
Absolutely. She's someone that's just come into the game. This is her first year playing league. So I enjoy actually being her centre because I also get to learn as I'm teaching her, you need to stay out wide, you need to come in closer, you know, et cetera, et cetera. So it's good to kind of change from, you know, being kind of just a player to being kind of like a teacher and, you know, mentoring like the other players. So I do enjoy that part a lot.
And obviously, you know, coming into this team, like you said, there's people who have come from sort of rugby union or not played the game before. And obviously, do you see yourself as being like the sort of the on-field teacher, coach?
I guess so, because I also play rugby union as well for Eccles. So I've got that experience and knowledge from that game. So when I speak to the girls that have that, like Katie, for example, also Darcy, as well as Helena and Yaz. Those are girls that I played at Trafford MV with, and I brought them over to come and trial for Salford. In the beginning, I'd kind of liaise with them and say, you know, like how we do a pod or whatever, this is what that means. They're like, okay, then I get it now that you've put it in that analogy. So it's same with Katie, but I feel like with Katie, I've got to reassure her all the time. But it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm like, Katie, I'd rather repeat it. And she's always like, Vic, sorry, just let me know if, you know, if you're getting annoyed at me. I go, no, Katie, I'd rather that you get it than, you know, be unsure.
I suppose it's the process in it. As long as everyone's switched on, it doesn't matter if you tell them once, tell them 100 times. As long as they're switched on and they know how it all works, then the engine runs. Then, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You know, the way in which people, you know, learn things is by repetition. So if it, just like how we do our attacking plays, we do it to failure at training sessions. So if it means me having to speak to one of the players, you know, in regards to their positioning on the field, I'll keep reminding them up until they get it and they won't ask me again.
Yeah, Sadie Rihadi went 100 metres off an interception. You know, lightning speed. You know, what a player she is.
Oh, she's phenomenal. She is absolutely phenomenal. Me and Sadie are quite close off field. Even though she's a couple of years younger than me, I feel like she's absolutely helped me grow my game and game knowledge. We play touch rugby and tag outside of this. Last year also her and Atta used to live with us, so you know we've got that kind of connection as well. But just the way that she plays, you know, her step, just knowing how to, you know, dummy pass and run back into the field, and yeah, I love her.
Yeah, she's very, very good, I think. But obviously, there's lots of good players. Brogan Evans, for one, what a player she is. You know, round the ruck, devastating, pace to burn. You know, she's a real threat.
Absolutely. If there's anyone else that I also feel is a really big utility player for this team is Brogan. You know, you were there at the Hull KR game. If there was anyone that could get down that number 10 from Hull KR, it was her, single-handedly too. She's just got this way in just getting us together. Just like Katie, who's come from Union, she's the same. I think she comes from Birkenhead, Rugby Union. So, but she also is a fitness instructor as well. So her bringing that, you know, her fitness skill into this game is just phenomenal. You just know that when she gets her head down and goes through all those people, like her try that she scored on Sunday, I just said, wow, just amazing.
She's sensational. To be fair, though, unfortunately, Ken Stanley, she got put in the bin. I thought it was, you know, she got put in for holding down. I thought it was a terrible decision by the referee. I think Kayla Bradshaw got put in the bin as well. And I did a bit of a cammy and missed that on the video. I thought she was going back into the line to defend, but she went off. I was watching it at like 1 o'clock in the morning, so it was my fault. But, you know, I suppose in a tough contest like that, you know, sometimes you do sort of go over the edge.
Yeah, definitely. To be fair, though, I think Brogan was the only one that was onside when they came back to play the ball. But anyways, you know.
I couldn't believe it when she got pinned. I was like, what are you doing? Couldn't believe it. But, you know, I suppose, like you said, you don't want to blame the officials. We've got to play what's in front of us and, you know, be disciplined and hopefully it'll turn. Also, I thought Demi Jones was sensational as well. Kicking game for the Kate Gary try, that little kind of like chip kick she did for her to the corner. And in defence as well, last couple of minutes, she took down a rampaging second row playing at fullback. So, and she kicked a 200th point for Salford on the day. So, you know, record breaking day for her.
Yes, Demi, she's our dark horse in the team. I think it was a great achievement for any of our players, but most importantly, her getting 200 points and counting for the club. Just the way, I think, you know, her football skills really, you know, transitional skills from each of all these codes like football, union. So, you know, her precision and kicking is just out of this world. I think she's probably, you know, could be better than Chris Naninu and Sneed, I reckon.
Yeah, well, I think her kicking success ratio's up there with Mark Sneed. I know the 150 club they had let have the coaching kicking session with Mark Sneed. I thought about Debbie. She's got to be up there. Might be worth another prize. I think some of the clubs got to be looking into there. But obviously beating Stanningley, crowned sort of champions at that point. So how did that feel?
Well, I cried at the end, full time. I looked over it. I think it was Epi, and I just cried. And I was like, Epi, we did it. I think it was just because we were just battling so much that game. Like there was just so many calls that were brought against us, but we still kept our head up. Usually, you know, for a normal person, that would really turn their gears. But I think we really held each other together. and we just said, look, everything's against us. We can only control what we can control. And, it just made it worth it, this whole season. And then being able to be crowned champion, league winners.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Yeah. So, that's great.
A magical moment. Really, obviously talking about the sort of the journey, you've been on, and to be sort of the top of the pile after this stage of the season, a new team that's been sort of put together, and you've been on this journey, and it's a fabulous moment for everyone.
Yeah, most definitely. I think collectively we've had from the get go, we've had heaps of things happen from the word go, but just seeing that, it just meant the world to each and every one of us for all separate reasons, but collectively to win that ultimate goal of the league altogether was just great.
Obviously this week we were in sort of playoff action. How was that? Obviously, the utopia of finishing top of the pile, having to kind of go again in this playoff sort of quest for Super League.
How does it go? I mean, I don't think any of us, me and Lobby had this question when I think at the end of the game on Sunday. She goes, Vic, like, who'd have thought? And I said, yeah. I remember I messaged, so I played with Steph, Lobby, Lauren and Kaylee at Warrington. And obviously I caught wind of the Salford making this women's team, and I was quite selective in who I had mentioned. Hey, look, I just need your email addresses. They're going to send out like a form. So when they went to obviously trial whatever, and then they picked the captains, and then the coach at that time before he left was like, Louise. And I was like, that's the best person to lead us. And I guess, for each and every one of us, I don't think any of us would have thought they would get this to this point. So, we're still speechless. I am. Every time we play, I'm just like...
Well, when did it start getting real? For you, obviously, you've been on this journey, and I don't know, what were your expectations at the beginning, and when did it sort of switch to, we can do something especially?
Oh, gosh. I think it might have been the first game against Warrington.
Yeah.
Because, I had come off for getting knocked on me, and I was sitting there on the sideline, and I was like, nah, just strap me out, let me get back on. And then, they fought back. We were trying to stop them, and then as soon as we got on, I think, me and Lobby looked at each other, and I was like, just run across. I saw her coming across, and I just went under her, and we scored that try. I didn't know what went over me, but somehow it was like, I'm just going to put this ball down. But I think from that point, when we looked at each other and we saw how we all backed each other up, I thought, okay, we've got something good going here.
Yeah. Big moment in that game was, I always refer to this, was they were sat in our line for like 6 sets, and we pelled them 6 times. And when I was watching it on the video, and I was thinking, if you can defend like that, you're halfway there. And obviously, as a team, you've grown into this potential Super League side. But like you said, I think at that point I thought to myself, you know what, we've got something here.
Definitely. I think the boys were playing Wigan at the same time, just before us, an hour before. And I remember I was watching the boys kind of like go neck and neck with Wigan, and I was like, this is giving me good vibes here.
Yeah.
I actually do this. Unfortunately, obviously the boys didn't quite get it over the line, but I was just like, well, let's bring it home for the club. But yeah, no, I think if anything in our defense, sometimes when we defend off our line, that really shows, it kind of amps us up, despite like the what is it? What's the word?
Drive.
Yes.
Determination.
Fatigue. Obviously fatigue sets in, but it's just the passion in our hearts to keep going. A player that you've had on here, Steph, who we miss dearly, playing on the field with us. She's someone that really shows that.
Because that's what top teams do. They find a way to win, and definitely. I think that's what we've got. We've got a team that will go through the gears, and if they have to graft, then they will. And that's a good sign, I think, coming into this sort of grand final sort of this week, that, if it comes to sort of trading sets and having to dig deep, this team will do that.
Definitely. I think that's exactly what you've summed it up there. Our team is someone who plays for each other, but not only that, we just look at, we support each other. We see the ones that are just down and out, and we're like, look, just keep fighting. Body language is everything. We'll have the coaches running on the field with water and being like, girls, you know what you're playing for. Make sure that you do the job. And at the end of the day, I turn around to them and like, the pain that we're going through now won't mean anything when we get to the end. So we just gotta grind it out.
Yeah. Talk about this week's game against OKR. Won 24 points to 4. OKR scored first to make it 4-0. What was the mood like behind the post? Was it sort of calm? You think, well, we're 4-0 down, plenty of time still. Let's rock and roll. I
think it was like the other word of poo. Like that's what I kind of looked over and I was like, wow, what just happened there? But they just like I felt like their kicking game on the weekend was quite good. I think they attacked, but that try was kind of like a shock, but also it was to be expected. When I watched the game over, I was like, there was 4-1 on that side. So, but sometimes it's a motivation for teams, and I think that's basically what it was. Gave them a taste. It's not going to happen again. I think that's basically what our attitude was after that.
Yeah.
Right.
It did. Obviously, we did sort of get back into it. Alex Simpson with a great try, sort of stepped for Hull Kingston Rovers defender, sent them all for a hot dog, went over for a try, and we were in front 6-4.
Yeah. She's got twinkle toes, Alex. She's just got a way in which her hips just go. She's mad.
Scores big tries as well.
And especially out like that. And it's not the first time she's scored like that. I think every game, at least one of her tries is a try that's identical to that one that she displayed on Sunday.
Yeah, good player. Next try, Brogan Evans from dummy half, 50 metres, burst down the middle, under the post. We're 12-4 to the good, and we're in control.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I've already spoken a little bit about Brogan regarding her athleticism, and it's no surprise the way that she's able to kind of see the gap and just go for it, head down with her long dreads and just shoot through the gaps.
Brave as well.
Yeah, absolutely. For her size, you wouldn't think, but she's tough.
So we go in 12-4 up at half time. What was the mood like in the changing room?
I think it was, to be fair, I think for all of us, we were just like, this is probably like the worst game we've played collectively, attacking wise. But were
you angry, or was you just like a? Sat down?
I think that was probably the first game where I've been really angry. Like, I don't know. I think I was just angry, just that things weren't sticking. I was angry at my own performance. And I remember the coaches were just looking at me and they're like, Vic, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I'm angry. They're like, I hope you're angry at them. I go, yeah, no, I'm angry at everything. And then Chris Fate said to me, goes, well, you guys play better with a smile on your face. So, let's try and, rein it in and, put that to bed and come up better. And I was sat there with my orange, my little cut of orange, and I'm like, yeah, okay.
So we come out second half, everyone's calmed down again, and we score next. Interception try from Lauren Ellison, goals under the post. We're 18-4 up, and we've got 1 foot in the final.
Definitely. So Lauren's she's usually on the wing, so to have her kind of be on the center, on the left edge this time, helping out, it was good vision from her to see that. She was basically on the outside shoulder of that play and then came in on the inside and just went for broke.
Yeah, good read, but actually she's got pace to burn, hasn't she? So as soon as she collects it, she's gone. There's no one catching her. And I say that with all our backs, there is the speed there, and teams are genuinely scared of that.
Definitely. I think that's why we're so our strike in attack is, we've been able to be so successful on our edge tries is because of the speed at the end, and then obviously the ball handling skills. But like I said, it comes from repetition, train hard every week to make sure that we get them down pat.
Yeah, I know we had a few injuries as well. Kaylee Bradshaw went off injured. Lucy McKeown was injured. No Taz, no YPS. So you had to dig deep.
Definitely. There was a lot of us were playing out of position. Like I said, Lauren for one. Sade was jumping between each edge. I had to then go to centre. We had Gabby and Ek that were on. Who haven't played a lot, but I think it was good to have their presence there to experience us going into this this final game. But no, it was definitely felt. But I think the girls that did sit in the positions that were obviously empty, I think we pulled together defensively because there was many times that Hull KR could have scored. They were knocking.
Yeah, well, you said that, but I watched that game and I thought, our edge defence was great. I don't think Hull KR obviously came down your wing a couple of times, but we rebuffed them. Didn't worry me. There was no danger for me. They decided after about 10-15 minutes that second half they weren't coming down your end. They had enough and we would go find somewhere else to attack. But sort of as a team, we are quite solid as a defence, and that's a sort of real advantage when you come into the business end of the season.
Yeah, we've just got, I think, again, we've just got each other's backs. We communicate, we look out for each other. I think there was, the forwards had to really dig deep that game. So we had Meg, Serena, Casey, who put in really big minutes.
Yeah.
In the game. Serena had to then play prop and then come to be my second row in the second half. So it was a lot to ask from them. But, considering we basically lost two of our strong forwards, so Abby went down, she kind of just shocked her ankle. So we were basically just looking at each other and like, we've just got to make do, don't we?
But I suppose, like you say, in them sort of situations, when the chips are down, it's about sort of rising in it and taking all the, the chaos and turning it into a positive, which I thought we did. Yeah, it was tough. You had to dig. Last couple of games, I thought, they really had to dig to get results. But that's what top teams do. They find a way to win, and that's what we did.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I could change anything that you said there. Our girls all know their role to play, whether it be in their normal position or not. It's just to obviously play for each other. If an opportunity is there to go, just go. If you watch the VO, that's on the RDTV, you can hear Chris Bates saying sometimes when we're going into our crazy plays, process.
Yeah.
To kind of rein it back in. I know there was a couple of times I don't usually kind of like as a centre go on the outside and dummy and try and go because I don't have that speed. But then you hear after those types of plays, you'll be like, okay, get to process, ladies. Yeah. And then, we do what we normally do.
I suppose it's like fog of war, isn't it? Where sometimes crazy things happen, but as long as you're somebody stays switched on and like you say keeps to the process, then obviously you see the set out and you put the pressure on them rather than Hail Mary passes, and because we're not like that. We are quite expansive. Bates ball is quite expansive, but it's quite measured, I think.
Yeah, definitely. He gives us room to obviously do what we can if we see it. He said if we're in good ball, if there's space, just go. And, a player that I feel, there's a couple of them, we've got Sade, we've got Alex that likes to do, that does that, Steph, as well as Lauren, all our speedsters that, try and find the gaps within the field to get us, yardage up. Great, even Meg as well. But yeah, someone who obviously puts them into the gaps is Taz. So, it'll be good to get her back because she's like a magician.
Nippy. Final try was from Captain Louise Fellingham. Sort of come across a line, sort of jinking, found a gap, went through. You could see the light on her face and see the pictures, how big her eyes are when she realised what she's done. Yeah,
couldn't have happened. I think if it just, I don't know. I'm kind of like the silent celebrator in the background, but I screamed from like 15 meters out, ran all the way to the try line, and I just looked at it and I grabbed her face and I was like, yes, we did it. And Sita Lefty was walking past, and as we were celebrating, I went and I gave him a hug. So I think Steve got a photo of that, so that was quite funny.
Like I say, it was a moment, wasn't it? And you've had lots of them sort of through the season, and now we're on the final straight now against Oulton at Bradford next week.
Yeah, it's if there's a team that I think I predicted after maybe the first kind of half of the season, and I saw how Oulton was going, I thought, yeah, we're going to see them in the grand final. Not being like, I wasn't predicting a cocky, like that we're going to make it to grand final, but if there was anyone that I wanted to play in the final, it would be them.
Is that because you think we raise our game against sort of the better teams?
I think, yeah, and I think because they challenge us, they've got, where they've got, like, I feel like the quality of players that they have is the same that we've got as well. Not to say that that's not the same as all the other teams in our league, but they play like a similar style to us. So, those are the types of games that I enjoy because it challenges the things that we play over week in, week out at training. So, the likes of, when we look back at our game against Widnes, that was, what is it, 92-0? I mean, it's great for us, but I think for teams that we're versing, it's, I don't know what the word would be for teams like that, but, I think.
But you say that, but for me, I think that's a good sign for us because some teams, they'll get to 50 and then they'll start just processing.
Yeah.
Five drives kick deep and we'll just try and get the stats up. But we just kept going. And that's a sign of a good side that it doesn't matter who we play. We'll just go through the process and we'll end up scoring at the end. And whether you score 92 or 6, you win the game that way.
Definitely. I mean, I think Lee Centurions did the same thing to one of the teams not long ago that I went and watched. But it's the types of that we get to put our plays into action, I guess, against teams like that. But again, on Oulton, I think it's exciting. We've watched them in the Challenge Cup when they versed Featherstone Rovers, and I think they've just lost. But that was the first time I'd ever heard of Oulton Raiders. I didn't know that they were even a team. But no, I liked. It was good to see what we saw on there.
Yeah, I watched them against Wakefield at Wakefield, and they were good.
Yeah.
I think they ran Warrington Lunas ran them close twice. So it shows that the teams like us, as Warrington Lunas and Oulton are the big three. And we lost to Oulton, but we were a bit injury ravaged at that point. We came back to our place, beat them, which was great, and now we're on our way to Bradford, and it'll be like you say, it's been a fairy tale season. So to beat Oulton in the final game would be the cherry on a cake. Yeah,
definitely. It'll be a good match, I think, for all of us. I think for a lot of us girls, it'll be another nail in our development. These are the types of games that really build our characters as players to be resilient. And I just love that we're developing as a team, and we're basically setting that foundation for the younger girls that are coming through. So it'll be good.
Yeah, and obviously, hopefully, a big following coming to Bradford. I know they're trying to put a coach on, so if we can get a coach filled and maybe a couple of coaches, it shows how far sort of this ladies rugby league has gone. That you'll may have a couple of coaches, so fans supporting you.
Yeah, possibly. I think it will be good for the girls. I mean, I don't know. It's weird. Like when I at the end of the game, when I walk around and then there's a little girl with their mum or dad, they're like, "Oh, can I get a picture and can you sign this?" I'm like, "Huh? For me?" So it's crazy, like how much. It's not just me. It's the other girls. Getting attention to, and the little girls looking up to our players. It's crazy. And even just like how the fans, like, you've got Woody, for example, who comes to basically every game, Joanne Hawkins. So it's crazy to see that these people just come and follow us everywhere. Like, you've got no words for it.
Well, I say, the bigger it gets, the more people go. And it'll be, I'd say that it's a big game, and it's Sunday. And if we manage to get into Super League, it's more eyes on the team. Women's rugby league, is growing all the time. We're learning about it as we go, which is great. So yeah, I'm just really hoping that we can beat Oulton, and then we can go again in Super League 2 next year.
Definitely, it'll be a good challenge. I think it'll just be great for the club. I think I remember there was something that Marcel had said about us referring to Paul King, and he looked at us like a new flavour of the month or something, something like that. And I was like, I think we just bring. There's not really a lot of league teams or open women team in Salford, so it's good to be something that's connected to this great club. So yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah,
to see how this progresses from here.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, definitely.
It's development and obviously growing as a team and growing as a club, because obviously now feels like we're a real club. We've got a ladies team, we've got the visual disability team, we've got the learning disabilities team, we've got the men. I mean, like 10 years ago, we barely had a first team.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
so it's great. No, it's great. Like the development that's from the background. So Craig Fisher, who's done great to get all of this into play. But it's just amazing how everyone's just gravitated towards each of these little branches outside the main hub to make sure that we've got a solid foundation. But the men's, obviously ultimately it's them, and they've set that solid foundation in the last couple of years for this to ultimately grow bigger.
Yeah. So let's talk about you now. How did you get into rugby?
So as you can tell, my accent's not from around here. I was born in New Zealand, so I grew up watching. No. I grew up watching rugby union. So my team is Wellington Hurricanes, and they're in the Super 14, I think it is, back in New Zealand. I forget now. So that was the only game I knew. And then we moved over to Australia, and I watched a bit of rugby league, and I was like, nah, I don't like this 6 tackle stuff. But, ultimately, my first ever game that I played rugby league was for Lee Miners in 2019.
Right.
I played a handful of games. I was on the wing, but I wasn't very good because I just didn't understand the game. And then, so I started from there. Yeah.
You say you're obviously, a background in rugby union. How was that transition from being a rugby union player to be a rugby league player for you?
Well, as I was, so I started playing rugby league and then changed over to rugby union because I was like, I don't get rugby league when I was playing at Lee Miners. They have a good setup already. Like they're in the core players that they've got in their Super League Division 2 team were the players that I was playing with back in 2019, and they're still the same players. So, even though I was a winger, I was hardly ever getting on anyways because I didn't understand the game. So I went away and was playing at Trafford MV, where I met Darcy, Yaz, yes, Helena. And then I learned how, to play like the basics of that. Then obviously played that, played for Warrington Lunas. But I think it's all the same, but both of the difference between both of the codes, I think one is, I feel like league is like that game where you've got to be there's a bit of flair, you've got to be fast, hit that gap, whereas union is more, physicality, so getting in that ruck, trying to turn that ball over, getting the ball out wide, and trying to run around the defence line.
Yeah. Both sports are similar but very different in different ways. Yeah. And I do get that because obviously, I do the sports on Salford City Radio, so we do have. I do watch different types of. I do watch rugby league. I do watch rugby union, and I think obviously with rugby union, it's more about sort of making sure that you keep the ball. While in sort of rugby league, you can be a bit more expansive because you don't have to get around the ruck to claw the ball back.
Yeah.
But do you feel you're a better rugby league player than a rugby union player, or have you not thought that far?
I prefer union on the side that I don't have to retreat back 10. I feel like my energy is lost when I have to go back.
Yeah.
And then I hear line speed, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
After you're wrestling someone for about 5 seconds, try and get them on their back and then run back 10.
I suppose the advantage of rugby union, you can just bash them where you stand rather than having to run back
that's what I like. And if someone's holding their legs and you see the ball, you can just clamp it and then run.
Yeah.
So that's what I like. Whereas it's a bit more savage, but but league, if you hit the ground, that's it. You can't. You've got to play it.
Yeah.
There's no way of you releasing your hands and picking the ball and going through a gap, which I tried to do in the second half. And I looked at the touchy, and he's like, "Get back."
So obviously you're playing sort of rugby union. You're playing a bit for Oulton Loonies. How did your move to Salford come about?
It was. How did that come about? Literally, it was a message. It was a conversation that I had with Paul King on Twitter. I probably still have the conversation, but it was just basically, asking me, have you played a bit of rugby? What are your thoughts on, we're looking at making a team. And I was like, yeah, I played a little bit, but, I've not really played a full season. So this is my first full season of rugby league. But, because of the relationship that I had with the club, Marcel told me, look, hey, we're making a women's team. Do you know a couple of girls? And off I went on my phone.
So you're the kingpin. They all came. Oh, because
I
of
was
you.
the one that messaged probably 30 odd girls and said, hey, look, this is what they're doing. And I think, to be fair, a lot of girls were kind of like, not too sure. But I'd like to hope that the noise that the girls have made, the team, the community, the sense of just everything, the vibe. I think it's a very authentic vibe that we've got in the camp. It shows in the way that we play. It shows, how we talk about each other. It shows, on our posts and whatnot. It's a genuine thing. It's not just we play on Sundays and that's it, and we try to see each other twice a week like this. So I hope that a lot of girls who've never played rugby league before want to give it a go, really do come down, because it's an amazing thing that's happening here at the club.
Do you get people that you asked the first time round asking you now about coming?
I did, yes. I did have a couple of people like, oh, yeah. And then I did kind of ask, like, as we were kind of starting the season, because we were needing some backs. But then I was like, no, we've just got to stick with what we've got. But yeah, a few girls, did ask, how is training run? How is this and that? But trials will be coming up shortly after the conclusion of the season, so that's a perfect opportunity for all those people to get back in it.
You're thinking, what a mistake to make! You should have jumped in when you had the chance.
I know.
So obviously, you're looking through the season. What's been your highlight?
Oh gosh, there's so many different. I'm not sure, right? There's not a single thing that I feel like has been the highlight. I feel like a lot of things that we've done, but it's not me. I think it's things that my team members have done that has shown me, like, yeah, this is something great that we're building here. The way in which, off the field, we all reach out for each other and, come together. There's a word that we say a lot, that we're quite strong on, and that's family. And I think that's a word that's carried on throughout the whole club. And I think it's a main thing for me also is just the inclusiveness of what we have. So obviously I've got kids, so it's hard for, me, sometimes, Ken's got training or whatever. So the fact that, no one, and the coaches are parents too, so they understand, I've got to bring the kids on the coach, whatnot. So it just really, and they all help out with my kids. I think it's probably that. Just that the word family, that's just probably the main highlight, is how in such a short amount of time that we've all gotten so close to each other, and that we all know how to help one another when we're down and out, is probably my biggest highlight of this year.
And obviously, looking back through the season, you didn't play, did you, in the league sort of cup final? Obviously, you weren't part of that sort of final and then the sort of the celebrations after. Does that make you more hungry to win on Sunday?
I think it was funny because obviously I'd gone away to a pre-book wedding, and I mean, I was kind of reluctant also just going to that wedding, but I thought, I just knew that the girls needed that. So it was me and Kaylee that were the starting second rows, and Helena would come and fill in, to kind of Kaylee a spell. So I think it was good because she had been there through her ACL injury, and before, you know, she was still doing rehab. It was a really good chance for her to come and showcase, you know, what she could offer to the team. So despite the fact that I wasn't part of it, I was happy that it had given someone else an opportunity to say, look, this is what I bring to the team, you know, and I want to make sure that I stay here.
Yeah, we spoke to Helena about that, and she said that you vouched for her to the coaches before she even sort of kicked a ball. Why do you think?
I think for all the girls that I've asked to come and trial for this team, I just knew what they could bring to the club, and not only that, but it would be good for them to take these skills to their, you know, whether it be union, whether it be, you know, whatever else that they play. I wouldn't like, I mean, I'd like to say like I'm the matchmaker, but for Helena, I think because I had saw her resilience when I was at Trafford, she, because of COVID, she couldn't get an operation, but she was turning up to training. You know, she couldn't do any contact, but she was there doing, you know, whatever else that we were doing there at the sessions. And I was like, for someone to come and be here and not be able to join in, surely that says something. So then that's why I had asked her, well, you know, you studied at Salford Uni, so why not just come in? And for Salford, I know that you're a Hull FC supporter, but, you know, you live on this side now.
Yeah. She claims to come from York, but really, we all know she lives in Hull.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, you know, I think she's been a revelation. Obviously, we talk about the bad injury she had and the journey she's been on to get to this point. And you've all been on a journey. It's been an amazing sort of what, 12 months, 18 months, and of be going from sort of training. I think it was at Beulah or somewhere, and then obviously to where we are now. It's unbelievable, really.
Definitely, it's a real fairy tale story, but I think I'd really hope that, you know, after this year it doesn't just fall off. I have all hope in my heart that this is going to just get bigger and better from here. We're really setting that foundation for what's to come. It can only get higher from here.
Is that the biggest test, you think? Obviously, you know, next year in Super League, let's be positive, we're going to get there. Is that the big test, sort of keeping that momentum going against teams who are possibly bigger, faster, stronger than us?
Definitely. We had a team talk not long ago just about, you know, what was expected, how things were possibly going to look if we did get up to Super League. And one of the things that were mentioned was, you know, will there be support if, you know, things go to pot for us? Because we're doing so well and we get such positive feedback, and, you know, what if we don't do so well in Super League? Is there going to be support for us? And I think it really took me aback, because I was like, yeah, true, you know. You know, it's great that we're having all of this now, but then for us that aren't used to this and the presence that we have on social media, you know, what will happen to us mentally as well, and how we believe in our craft, and how, you know, how I feel like I'm getting tongue tied here, but you know what I'm saying, like, you know, how will it affect us? How
what it is, it's peaks and troughs in it.
Yeah.
And at the moment we're on a trajectory of up, aren't we? And you are right, you know, there will be points in the next sort of years when, you know, times get hard and you know, we might not be winning games, but top teams dig, and that's, and even though we're digging now and we're winning. So if obviously you start to struggle, but you still got that mentality of we're going to dig to get a result, it's only going to be a good thing. That.
Yeah, definitely. I think it just shows our resilience too. But I mean, we've got someone like Louise who really, it all starts from the top. Like in anything, you know, how the culture is from the top, it obviously feeds down from the bottom. Obviously, when it rains, it comes down. Sort of starts from the top. So that's how I see it. So, and I think it's just the reason why we're doing so well on field and off field is the presence from the club. You know, we've got Paul King that comes to basically every single game. There was one time he chose our game over the boys' game, and I was like, I was sat with him on the coach, and I was like, why are you here? Shouldn't you be with the lads? But I think it really it brings that belief to the girls that yes, they believe in us, they believe that we can do this. And you know, I see it every time that we play. Like the girls just got this light in their eyes when we're playing, because they know that they're supported, we've got the backing of the club.
And belief, because obviously we know we're a team that's on the up, and we're doing well, we're winning games, and you're all in it together. You can see that you're all sort of together, and you're going in the right direction. And obviously we're going to the big dance on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, no one would have guessed when we had that team meeting. Like they basically said, we've forced the club's hand. We've got to kind of make things happen in turn to meet us halfway in how we're performing. And it just shows, like, we came in here with no expectations of doing how well we've done, and we've basically, batted it out of the park. And now we're just taking basically every game as it comes and seeing, how it looks for us in the new season to come, however way that will look.
Excited for Sunday?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Nervous but excited. I think I've not ever been in a grand final for anything, actually.
Have you not?
No, maybe in netball, because I grew up being a netball player. So, but that was years ago.
Never lose it, though. You got to be offload.
Yeah, I think that's probably where I get it from, because, when I get hit, I'm like, okay, say to Lauren.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Katie Gary.
Well, yeah, I'd say it's been an absolute journey, and obviously we've enjoyed every minute on the podcast, and seeing you on this journey. Now we're on this this quest to get into Super League. It's been amazing, and hopefully we'll take that one final step, and we'll be in Super League next 2023.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we've enjoyed the ride. We're so grateful for every single person that supported us throughout the season, especially the club, and the way in which they've supported us. It's just crazy. I've got no words for it.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Viki. I wish you all the luck in the world on Sunday. Pioneers, that's what you are. You're treading a journey which no lady in a Salford shirt's ever done. So win or lose, you'll be winners to us.
Thank you. I mean, yeah, the girls are winners in my eyes, regardless of whatever the result will be on Sunday. To have made it this far is there's no detriment in itself. It's an achievement, and we should be so proud. And obviously the supporters.
But we didn't come this far to go this far, though, did we?
No, we're gonna go to as sky's the limit, as they say.
So yeah, big thanks for joining us, Viki, and good luck Sunday.
Thank you so much, Rob.
So big thanks for tuning to this week's pop-up podcast. I'm Rob Parkinson. You can find us on Facebook, Devon the Detail SRD. You can find us on Twitter at DITDSRD. And you can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Radio Contact, Spotify, and YouTube. Good luck, ladies. We'll see you on the other side.